I got a request from a friend online. She sent this picture and she needs an illustration of the place on the train of the gown. And I think more importantly is these stones that was done here. I think it was done on all of the gown, but that peach color gown is more conspicuous. So that's just what I'm going to explain shortly. In my illustrations, I'm not going to make a complete dress, and I'm going to assume that we already know how to draft a traditional gown, and I'm also going to concentrate only on the front piece. Okay, I won't say much about the train of the gown. That's just circle, flare, and put together. I'm going to just cut the gown freehand. That's to save time. And like I said, I'm assuming you already know how to cut a basic gown. Well, this is just the bodies of your basic traditional gown. And notice in the picture that at some points above the lower thigh, the gown was cut, and all we had was this. Even though this is the bodies of the gown, just half of the bodies was used to manipulate the slash and spread effect we have on the gown. Okay, so I would just take half of this. One thing I must warn is, for you to achieve this effect, there must be a seam on the waistline. There must be that seam on the waistline. If not, we will not be able to spread it. Okay, so I'm going to cut it open. But before I do, let me draw some lines that represent the direction to which I am going to do my spread. There's no particular angle that you must use. Just free your mind and do that. Now, while drawing this line, I am pressing this pencil hard so that I'll have a duplicate print down there. Oh, the pencil is already helping us. The paper is torn. Okay, now you leave space. The space you're going to leave, it's not like it's a law that it must be certain inch. It should just be the way you want it. Whatever space you want is what you're going to use. Are we together? Yeah, I also press this, so I'll have a print down here. Next is we'll cut this and cut this. Okay, now it's time to spread this out. Okay, but from what I can see, only this can spread. This cannot spread, and actually that's the reason why we have to cut it. Now, one way to achieve this is to spread it this way. Okay, and then cut on the base fabric, but we'll leave that for now. I'm going to use the second half of the bodies to illustrate that, but it will mean that instead of the dress to carry a cut or a seam on the waist, the line will cut from the middle down this way. Either way, you get the same effect. So we'll do that later. But for now, let me do what's on screen. I'm going to cut this out. We get a piece of fabric, fold into two to represent the left and the right bodies, then bring your pattern, and then we're ready to cut the upper bodies. Now you want to leave enough space on this side because it's actually going to spread. Now we spread. Now before I pin that first spreading, let's take note of how many inch we'll use. I'm going to use 2 inch for this one, but I'm actually using centimeters since it's a small scale illustration. Then I'll maintain the same 2 inch for the next one. Actually, centimeters. If you're making the main dress, you can make it 2 inch. Okay, and every other area of your pattern, you may have to force them to flatten. Okay, force to flatten. Then sewing allowances, you add your sewing allowance. Over here in Infinite Fashion School, we don't add sewing allowance on the armhole, or we add on the shoulder. We don't add on the neck. And mind you, your neck can come in whatever form you want. Now, because we slice this part, we have to add sewing allowance since we're going to stitch it back. Okay, and then these parts and these parts came from the same line, so we're going to add the same sewing allowance. Are we together? This is going to come down to join to this. This is supposed to come down to join to this, and this will join to this, and then this will come. But now during the pleating, there might be some shortage of this split area. Since we're not sure, we're going to leave it in excess and then leave here in excess. So we're ready to cut. You would have noticed that the armpit curve became intense. It's normal, of course, you spread it. We can later trim any excess that comes from these two sides. Are you following? Let's remove the neck. Now we're going to repeat the same thing on the lower bodies, and we're going to maintain the 2 units value we use here on the lower bodies. And then, like we agreed earlier, we're going to be spreading this to a space of 2 units. And then pin. Nice and clean. Okay, I would advise you to strongly note these points, preferably just notch it to the tip of your pattern, because those points must actually meet. The center will hardly be misleading, so we can always just overlook that. You do the same thing to this. This is half of it, and then this was spread to this. So I'm just going to pick this spread and bring it back, and then allow it to fall in the direction of the cuts. So if we successfully bring that mark back to where it was, fold it back in and then pin. The second point can still come that way to meet that notch, and then this should go this way, and then we pin. Okay, so ready for one side, it's coming alive. It's looking rough now, but we're going to put some iron there. Now we repeat the same thing to this. You see, in this Awangwa, light is a major challenge. Currently there's no light. If not, I would have been ironing these things at once. So I'm going to just pin for now, and then once I'm done, I'll put on the chain and do the ironing. If you notice, the bodies and the armhole, it's coming back to the original shape. And then if you also notice, this line is coming back straight the way it was. So I'm going to just nicely iron this like they are pleats, or let's say darts. What we're going to do now is to join this to this. Come close. Well, even though this is for practice purpose, you are supposed to do that carefully so that all these pleats will align with themselves. But I won't care much about that because this is tiny and it's just for teaching purpose. I know somebody is shouting, "Oh, aren't you going to remove the pins?" Well, you don't have to. The needle and the pins would hardly jam. So over here, we're careless about removing pins when stitching, especially if the pins go across. It is okay to remove the pins now. So we go over to the table and finalize our experiment. Are you there? So here we go. It may not be perfect, but this is just how you go about doing that. You can decide to make your pleats go the other way, it's based on your choice. Now we're right also to trim that. Now for it to appear a bit nicer, you want to iron this and make sure it is open so that there's equal weight or balance on both the upper and the lower bodies. So at this point, you go ahead with every other thing you need to do on your design. You can try several other ideas. You can even make it a box split, so one comes this way, the other one go the other way, or make them several. If you have questions to ask, you can leave them on the comment section below, and please don't forget to subscribe. This is a growing channel, and would actually appreciate as much subscribers as possible. Just share, like, and most importantly, subscribe so you can get every subsequent videos that are coming in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making a request, and we do hope it helped. And then before I forget, notice that I'm only teaching you how to achieve the pleats. Okay, whatever you want to do on the neck is left to you, and whatever you want to do on the fillet is left to you. That fillet is really, really simple. I believe you can achieve it. Have a good luck trying this on your own. Thank you.